Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to round 2 of season 21 of RPL F2. We're in Spain tonight, Catalonia. What a historic venue this has been for RPL. And really, if you remember on F1 2019, we ran here for season 1, tier 1, even season 2, even tier 2 at the very beginning when it was F1.5. You had the equal tier run back here quite a while ago. And of course, F2, where all the chaos happens. And no surprise that this circuit could shape up to have even more chaos. Back in season 17, F2, we had RPL Titan Iron on the podium. His return to the podium. He's not been up there since that day. I did a little one-off, well, 6 one-offs I'll call it, because we had a very big shortage in F2 drivers back in season 18, and I was on the podium that day, and that was one of Trat Racer's only victories in F2. That was a day where we could have potentially had the event canceled because of how low the numbers were and the amount of lobby glitches there were. Fast forward to a season later, the last time we were here, it was Minico picking up victory, or excuse me, Josh picking up victory number 1, Josh 433 that is, after Minico and Skither collided. So what a historic venue this is. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. I was not supposed to be here tonight, but I could tell you right now, I am here because of a little last minute change. We didn't even have anybody scheduled for this event tonight. So yeah, again, don't expect this to be an every week thing. I'm supposed to miss pretty much the entire F2 season due to the schedule I have at work, which is very unfortunate. I'm even lucky to be here for tier 1, I must say, but it's good to be here. I'm happy to be here nonetheless. And let's recap you a little bit of last week as well. Welcome along, chat. It's good to have you all here as well. But anyway, last week for F2, we had Jack and Skither win races. Skither, another season of F2 winning ways. Same thing could be said for Jack Miles. Feel like there's more I'm missing. There is. Luke Range returned. It's his first F2 race since season 17. In fact, his last F2 start prior in Vegas, I believe he won. Egg returned as well. Egg got on the podium in both races. That was a nice little sight for Egg. There was one of the races Goatley was battling for a victory in, but he had a penalty. I think the same could be said for Night Owl, who was also battling for a win. So your future podium was Skither, Jack, and Egg. Skither got his 18th pole as well, which is now equal with Luke Range all time. Jack, Night Owl, and Egg was the podium in the sprint. Skither down in 5th. He had a bit of trouble at the start, I'm pretty sure. Night Owl brings MP back on the podium. Remember MP? They were the excluded team last season. Now it's VAR, Van Amersfoort Racing. In the feature race, we had a bit of rain throughout the race. Not enough for wet weather tires, I believe. But Gecko was penalized in the stewards. Uri did his F2 debut. Now, Zora has a qualifying ban. We'll get to our headlines, penalties, and changes. And, yeah, I don't think I give anything else. I was not here last week, so I kind of needed a bit of help from Invade and Titan and others to kind of recap me on this. So hope everything right there is all good. Nonetheless, let's go over, before we get to the penalties, headlines, and changes, the championship standings. And while I do that, chat, since I don't have a co-com tonight, I want to get your guys' opinions on what you guys expect for tonight's event and the rest of the season now that we've had one round in the books. For season 21, that is. Anyway, standings. Skither leads Jack by 3 points. That's how crucial the pole points are and the fastest lap, as well as the feature race compared to the sprint. Egg, 3rd in the championship. Night Owl, 4th. Other point scorers from round 1 include Raza, Maestro, Goatley, Invade, Titan, and I can't even read my own handwriting. That says Luke, right? Yeah, it does. Wow. That's awful. Dams MP tied for the championship lead in the constructors. We have Invicta, Campos, Rodin running out the top 5. Trent and Prema also scored points, but the teams without any points into tonight are High Tech, ART, and AIX. Anyways, time for your headlines, penalties, changes, and all the good stuff. This all gets into contract details as well, so enjoy this while you can. We have Zora and Wavy serving qualifying bans. I know Zora's here tonight. He is in the Prema. Wavy is not here. But I do have other news besides that. We're going to get to Minico right now in the Rodin. Why are we getting to Minico? Because Minico replacing Cam as the Academy Assistant for the Ferrari Academy. Remember, F2 this season has the regular F1 Academies all in play rather than not. Last season, it was different academies. You had young driver academies compared to the regular. Now they're all put together. Minico, why is this role important for F2, though? It's the Academy Assistants having the main control of F2. It's the Academy Assistants who do that for F2. And Minico is the Academy Assistant now for Ferrari Academy. We have Raza in the Mercedes Academy now full-time for MP Motorsports. We also have MX in the Alpine Academy in ART full-time. I don't see him in the lobby. Metal, Alpine Academy / McLaren Academy. Full-time there for AIX. I don't think we have any AX drivers in tonight as well. Invade Ferrari Academy full-time now in the Prema. He was supposed to take a little break, but welcome back, Invade. 2 Tier 3 drivers in that Prema. In fact, 2 Canadians in Ferrari Academy. Invade, we spoke about him going full-time. Because he's full-time, that had to mean that someone dropped to reserve, and that was Trat Racer. Trat Racer mutually agreed to drop to reserve role. Midfield Maestro, Merc Academy, Dam's full-time for him. I'm going to give you a quick rundown on Tier 3 and Tier 2 so far this weekend. In Tier 3, we had a red flag during the event due to a game glitch, leading us to restart and the race being extended by 2 laps. So, with that being said, the winner from it was Devin. He started at the very back in the first initial start and the second initial start because he had yet to pit. He had the lead and held on to it to finish the event. So congrats to Devin. Also congrats to Timbed and Liral Fusion on podiums. Alex Norris as well on a second pole position. That was a crazy race though. Tier 3, I want to say. Safety cars as well. Tier 2 didn't have any. Tier 2 was VSC and safety car free. Tier 2, we had 5 different leaders throughout the event, and it was a McLaren 1-2, their first in the tier. George ahead of Polagod. Also, Night Owl on the podium ahead of Mintoki. And George on pole. George on pole. A very clean race yesterday, I must add. Both Red Bull drivers had a little bit of controversy. We'll talk about that later tonight in F1. The reason they had controversy, though, which we'll talk about more later on, is the fact that both Red Bull drivers left the league. Now putting both V-Carbs in the main spot, but they felt like the V-Carb drivers, who are now the Red Bull drivers, were sabotaging them. Invade says Jack will win the championship again. Well, his championship rival Skither is in here tonight, making it 14 drivers amongst this grid. I want to have the chance now to speak about what we expect for tonight's event and really the rest of the season. Really, the main guys out in front, you should have Skither, you should have Egg, who's now changed his flag. I would add Reese in that equation, but I heard he's feeling under the weather, so I wouldn't expect him to be up there as much as someone like George or Gecko. Minico's good on F2 cars. Night Owl, Jack. I feel like the main portion of the season will have Jack, Skither, Egg, and maybe Night Owl or Minico, but really, it's a stacked grid for tonight and a stacked front of the field, which could see some drivers maybe play spoiler in the sprint race. Titan had a podium here back in season 17. Leon's returning to F2. That's always fun to have him on the grid. And another thing as well, Raza Gamer scored 12 points last week. Maestro scored 11. I would not be surprised to see them guys up there in the sprint event. And it all is going to depend on what happens in qualifying first, of course. We're not going just yet, but we do have 14, now 15 drivers in here about the event. I believe Luke Grange is just joining back. And I'm going to check my pings because I see someone has pinged me. Probably should have done that a little bit earlier. I am so slow. I don't know why. It's a ghost ping. Lovely. Titan told me to look at Korsman's name on EA. Okay. All right. I already know what it says, but I want to show it to the stream. Is he not online anymore in F1? No, he's offline. Why can't I find him? Nice name. Why can't I find Flaw? Oh, that's why. I think this is why. No, I can't. Why can't I find him? I have him added to the RPL account. Speaking of adding people, let's just make sure everyone in this lobby I have added. Well, at least through PC. We want to make sure, especially PC. Okay. Already have him. Midfield Maestro. Chat, give us your predictions tonight, by the way. Yeah, so just to clarify for Luke's case, he was wondering, you know, do we have a stream? And I also mentioned I was supposed to miss F2. I was, that it was correct, but I was at work, and work let me go early because, well, we were, you know, not too busy. So yeah, I am here tonight, and I would have not been, but as Skither says, F2 is back. It is back. Look at this, 16 drivers on our grid. The last full grid, if you want to actually talk about F2 specifically, you'd have to go back to Saudi Arabia, I think 2 seasons prior. That was when Luke was on commentary with me. That was a fun race. It was also a race where Egg got himself a permaban momentarily from F2. In fact, I feel like we've had like 3 drivers in this lobby who have had permabans in the past. Zora had a ban for a little bit. Leon did. Egg did. This event's going to be chaos, and I'm ready for it. Give us your predictions for qualifying, folks. I want to kind of give you guys a little rundown on prior pole sitters in F2. Luke's had 18, Skither's had 18, Jack has 11, Reese has 9. Also, further back on this grid, you have guys like Egg who have 6. George, I don't know if he's ever had a pole in F2. He is not. So we could see some first-time pole sitters tonight. We may not. Night Owl also has a pole. Trying to think of who else. Nonetheless, give us your final predictions here ahead of qualifying. One check qualifying for the event. This should be tons of fun. All right. So, who do we think is going to be on pole position? Let's enable everything for you folks. And Zora serves his qualifying ban. He is one of the only drivers having to retire due to qualifying bans. We're going to go on board with our, maybe, let's see, do we have, who sat on pole last season here? Well, 2 seasons ago, actually. It was Skither. Let's go on board with, no, he's 8th. I'm not going to go on board with him. Let's go on board with Miniko, who could have won this race the last time we were here. You have the 2nd place guys all the way to about 8th flirting with one another in terms of trading spots on our board. Currently, Miniko, though, holds on to pole. Let's run on board with him. I can get away with running on board with him because I don't have a co-com. So we're all good there. Egg, Night Owl, Skither, Luke, that rounds out our current top 5. I think Goat, Lee, George, and Leon may have invalidated their lap times, but right now, the current sprint race pole would go to Gecko. That's why we want to keep an eye on our 10th place spot. But if Miniko does get pole tonight, It would be his first, I believe, in F2. You have Egg and Skither who could take it. But nonetheless, one more corner to navigate. And Minico will cross to have his first pole in RPL. How about that from the Canadian? Jack Miles is going to be on sprint race pole as well. Reese Dainty on the front row. It's the first time in RPL F2 history a Canadian is on pole. And it's the 59th different pole sitter. Minico came shy of having pole in FE and F1 prior. His best start in F1 was third. Now, he can say he's a pole sitter in F2. Good job, Minico. Egg on his front row for the feature race. Skither third, coming just shy of the front row. Night Owl and Luke up there. Luke Range, a good showing there. Midfield Maestro, Gecko, Invade, Reese, and Jack round out the rest of our top 10. Very interesting to see our top 3 for the sprint race. That's Jack, Reese, and Invade. And all really close, too. Titan just missed out there on maybe taking a reverse grid pole. George, 13th. Leon, 14th. And the only driver who invalidated their lap time, I believe, was Goatley at the very bottom of that field. Minico, finally on pole. As he says in the chat, he is so happy about that. And he also beat his time trial time. How about that for Minico? I mean, a really great story for him. He's always had the race pace and had victories, but never had a pole position. Give us your final predictions here before we get going for lights out. I don't know what Luke did to his screen there, because I think it's like made smaller. It's made very smaller. Why is the screen like that? All right. Well, enough chit-chatting and looking at the screens. Expect no drivers to pit during this event. I believe it's a completely dry sprint race. As for the feature, I'm not too sure about. Yeah, completely dry sprint race. Here we go for lights out. And here come the lights for round 2 of the season in Catalonia. The 5 red lights are on, and it is go, go, go. Now, we have Jack Miles trying to protect the P1 spot as we run down to turn 1. Reese Dainty has some cars gaggling behind. They're all about 3-4 wide there. Look at that. As we have that in the way, excuse me, my apologies. Off of the back, we have a car on the wall. That is actually Leon Miner, I believe. Or no, excuse me, that's Minico. Minico, who had the pole position spot in qualifying, has slammed it into the barrier. We have Jack, Reese, running 1-2. Invade has Gecko for company. They're down in P3. Any moves being made here down to turn 4 and 5? I think we're okay. Maybe further back, though, Titan and Zora. These two collided in F2 a few weeks ago, I believe. But nonetheless, it's Zora ahead of Titan. Zora's gained 3 spots. Raza, 3. Goatley up 5. And our biggest loser, the only one who's lost more than 1 place, Minico. That's because he had something there happen down at turn 2. I thought it was Leon or Goatley who had it coming together. It wasn't. Here we go. We have Gecko and Invade further back, side by side. We're going to take you off the positions and put you on the tires here. Everyone on the hard compounds. But Gecko and Invade still racing it out. And I got to get used to this keyboard. Nonetheless, Invade gives up 3rd to Gecko. And I feel like they've fallen back there to Reese. They have 6/10 the gap. Luke also trying to get on the move. Jack Miles leads lap 1. Here is Luke on the move. Skither also on the move. Here we go. Are we going to be 3 wide? Yeah, we are. Look at us down to turn 1. Skither trying to pick off 2 at once. He'll get Luke, I think. His next target's Invade. This train goes all the way down to 10th place. We're side by side here for turn 3. This is where Skither collided with Minico on the opening lap last time we were here. Clean there so far. Now down to turn 4. Luke and Skither, old rivals, racing it out. Old friends. How about midfield Maestro putting his car in the equation, saying, guys, don't forget about me. 2 teammates further back. Night Owl and Raza also waiting in the wings to maybe make this move here. It is Skither ahead of Luke, then midfield Maestro. George also getting Titan now for 13th place. both Alpine Academy teammates in F2. Speaking of Alpine Academy / McLaren, Jack Miles leads the way, and he is looking for another victory tonight. Jack Miles, if he gets it, would win 29 in F2. Egg also picking off a car. That's Raza. Maybe a bit of contact down there. I think they're okay right now. Nonetheless, Raza holds on to 10th. Not the last point spot. It would be for the feature, but Night Owl holds on to P8, the last point spot for the sprint. Lap 3 underway now. And Jack leads the way. DRS enabled Gecko setting fast pace. There's this race actually back at the very beginning where he could have won but was disqualified from the event. We have Skither shooting one up the inside on Invade, getting through. George passing Titan. Invade wanting to stick it back around the outside and try maybe for a cutback on Skither, but no success there. Up in front of that, Gecko is putting the fight to Reese Dainty as we have a crash further back. Nonetheless, Gecko, can he pick off Reese Dainty here? Gonna go the long way around. Further back, we have more battling, but Reese holds on. Ooh, a little bit of contact there. Reese is clear of Gecko. Look at Luke Grange on the inside trying to pick off another car. Gecko back there in third, behind Reese Dainty. Now having to concede that place, as we mentioned. Georgette Williams into the penalty box, and I think the yellow flags were right around here. Minico, Titan, and all those guys in that midfield range. Look at this, 6 cars under a blanket, fourth on back, all having a chance at maybe a podium here. Anyway, Reese Dainty trailing Jack by only 3/10, but maybe looking to make the move. Here he goes, pulling out from behind. Gecko joins him as well in the fight. Reese Dainty taking over P1, but goes a little deep. Gecko also takes over second. Luke gets 5th from Invade. Luke Grange, he's trying to return to the podium. It's been a long while. Reese Dainty, though, out in front of the Grand Prix. Out in front of the sprint, in fact. Now, we have more moves. Luke Grange trying to protect from Invade, who's trying to shoot one up the inside. Here we go for the lead once again. Gecko up the inside of Reese. Reese having to go out very wide. Now trying to put the power down. Give us a good angle, please. Gecko now on the inside for the final bits of Sector 2, losing the rear. Reese still remaining side by side. We're going to go side by side here into the final braking zone of Sector 2. Great action here between two good friends and prior teammates. Oh, look at the movement. Reese trying to attack Gecko. Minico gets a penalty, and Jack has Skither up his rear, wanted to join the fight. This is great fun to start this Grand Prix, excuse me, sprint. Grand Prix sprint, whatever you want to call it. And Skither right on the tail of Jack. Reese trying to re-overtake Gecko for the lead. We've had 3 different leaders of this race. Reese re-overtakes, and Jack and Skither get feisty as well. 3 wide into turn 1. Skither almost gets hooked on the left rear tire of Gecko. Gecko went off and almost goes into Skither, and Gecko is off. Gecko's off and tries to re-enter and spins the car. Midfield Maestro loses places in the process as well, I think, trying to take avoiding action. But that's troubling for Gecko, who could have had a podium, now down and even out of the points. Midfield Maestro gets Egg. Egg back up the inside. He's going to fight this with all he can. He's through. Very pivotal for Egg to take that place, because Invade is losing DRS here for 4th. Luke Grange up in the fight there for the podium now. All 4 of the top 4 drivers are prior F2 champions. Reese Dainty season 6, Jack 3 times, Skither 2 times, and Luke 4 times. Looks like Raza Gamer almost gave the boot there to Goatley into the corner. That's where Ding and Luke collided in the Formula E race last season. The last time we were here, season 1 for Formula Endurance. The only time we were here. Remember, that tier has been abandoned. Skither racing it out with Jack. Resets the fastest lap. He's going quite quick in the P1 spot, but it's all happening behind him. Skither Is he going to make the move? Is Jack going to make the move? Jack is going to make the move. Jack was boxed in there. He had no other choice. He'll try to go the long way around. Reese covers it. Now, Reese has 2 cars to cover for turn 3. George passes Titan, so does Minico on the main straight. But look at this. Jack pinching Skither. Almost Rosberg and Hamilton style as they get to the corner. Skither, inside line, stays ahead of Jack. Or does he? Jack and Skither, 2 championship rivals, both on the defense and offense, and Jack now will have to be on the defense. Penalty to his name. I was just going to say the championship contenders running 1-2, keeping it clean, but now with the penalty, can we really say that? Reese Dainty, since returning to part-time F2 action, he has only had a total of 2 victories, both coming in season 18. One was on track, one was not on track. The one that was not on track was due to the Annex ban that had happened. He took the victory after everything was all figured out there, due to smurfing and cheating. But we might see a new leader to this sprint. It's Skither out in front, trying to win for a 40th time in F2. Now, Jack down the inside of Reese. A little slingshot there, pulled off. Invade also late in the braking zone trying to get Goatley. These 2 have collided in the past, and they almost do again. Invade really pinching Goatley right under the curb. Goatley remaining in 8th over Raza now. Raza trying to get the last point spot, and Raza's getting very racy with the Trident driver. Bumping the back of him now. And does the MP try a little up and under? He does. The braking zone, he's really shoving his way through there. Goatley was trying to go defensive and protect the place, but he couldn't any longer. Look at who's up to 10th. From the back of the field, Zora has a chance for points in F2 tonight after a qualifying ban. This guy seems to have no pace, no racecraft, but finally, is he figuring it out tonight here in RPL on his return? I say his return, he's been here for 2 months, but he's really not had the best of times and really not had the cleanest of times. If he has a good run here tonight, getting in the P8 spot, he can get Prima double points. That will really satisfy the team principal of Invade. Speaking of Invade, his academy teammate Minico is racing it out with George. Little argy-bargy there. George gets the place, and now trouble for Egg. Egg had, I think, a coming together with midfield Maestro. We just caught the end of that because we were focusing on the George and Minico battle. Skither holds the lead into turn 1. Further behind, Invade will also get midfield Maestro. Little dive there. Invade pulls it off. Or does he? Yeah, he does. Titan penalty there. That is outside the point spots. Leon Miner racing it out. And Minico gets shoved out of the track there to try to make this maneuver. 4 cars under a blanket. George almost gets spun around, and he does. Leon Miner's also around, both in the wall. And that's super unfortunate. A big battle here for P13 ends in disaster. Egg, Zora, very argy-bargy here. Elbows out. Zora had to cut the corner. I'm surprised he didn't get a track limit penalty for that. Here's Gecko on the move as well. Both Gecko and Egg trying to reclaim some lost ground after their offs they had earlier on. Zora down to 11th, but I must say, the battle for points for him, not over. I don't know what that dive bomb was from him down at turn 5. I don't know if he made contact with Egg or not, but I'm glad it did not end in any worse circumstances. Gecko trying to put some pressure on Egg now. Look at who leads this race still. Skither by almost a full second. Yeah, Jack got out of DRS right there. Reese Dainty now will be on the charge. That puts Jack very vulnerable. In fact, look at this as we run to turn 1. Will Reese try a late dive like Jack did? No. Meanwhile, Maestro gets Invade, and Invade is still put vulnerable to more cars. Raza Gamer on the move, going up the inside. I saw George earlier on, I think, have end plate damage. So remember, some of these drivers who do have damage from the opening laps will be struggling with that damage, and they'll get a clean sheet for the feature. No drivers making a maneuver here into turn number 4. Egg, though, is trying to heat up the back of Goatley and trying to find a way past the Trident. Here we go. Goatley gets protective, and Egg hits the back of him, invades around. That puts Egg in the last point spot, so no need to battle Goatly and get it. He'll get it from Invade's mistake. Egg almost had a moment where he could have crashed into Goatly there. And look at this. Reese Dainty, penalty, lets Luke through. Luke is up in a net P2 because of this. Could Luke Grange return to the top step of the podium? It is possible. He's got to have a lot go his way and still get to Skither. It is not over. All the drivers in the top 10 having their own DRS train. They're breaking into 2 different trains, in fact. Titan on the back of Minico. Nonetheless, George Williams has left the session and retired. Is this on track now becomes the question, or is this a game glitch? We have a trade in place. This for 5th. Raza Gamer, midfield maestro. Some good shout-outs last week I gave them, but right now they're racing for 5th, and Goatly wants in on the action as well. Down the inside, late maneuver through, up into 6th. Now that puts Egg on the back of the Dams. Egg would love to make this move, but he's got Gecko for company. 3 cars, now make it 4, under a blanket as we run to turn 4. The Trident almost hits the back of the Dams, and that's now Gecko spinning off into the wall. Up in front of Egg, or excuse me, Gecko, is Egg, Goatly, and Maestro, almost 3 abreast there. And look who wants in the action, waiting in the wings for trouble to occur. That is Zora, down in 9th, having a chance to put Prema in the point, and honestly, it still could happen with both cars. And it now may happen with both cars. Egg has a penalty. Egg shoots one up the inside of Maestro. Big lunge there from Egg. Egg cuts off Maestro, and they're all getting squirmishy here. Goatly tried to go on the inside and got cut right off. Minico gets Titan, and now look at our leaders. Jack out of DRS, Luke out of DRS. Look who has DRS, Reese Dainty having the penalty. He'll have to try and defend from Raza Gamer. Reese gets Luke. We'll take our eye off of that momentarily because the battle for 6 reigns on. Egg, put vulnerable, overtaken. Will Goatly get him in the process? Yes, he will, but Goatly cuts him off. Both in the same academy, coming to blows. They can't allow this to happen because Zora's right there, and look at this! Cars going off! Affected most. Zora, he was an innocent bystander there. And now Egg, 3 wide. Oh, he almost turns it on the Trident of Goatly, but Invade takes advantage, or does he? So much action here for 7th place. Invade, huge send up the inside, getting through. Now Egg's saying on Goatly, he's saying, not so fast there, buddy. I will make sure you do not have the place there. And also, I'll make sure you don't have the last point spot because Night Owl is coming quick. He's trying to recover the lost ground that he had. We're coming now to 2 laps to go. Look at this, up in front. That's Invade and Egg going at it. Egg loses the rear. Goatly also had that happen simultaneously, and now Egg is just hitting the back of Invade here, trying to get him going. Look who's ran off with that. Midfield Maestro, 2.3 seconds behind Raza, and 3.6 Invade is behind him. 4-car fight for the last point spot. 2 of them will get it, 2 of them will miss out. Reese Dainty is on the back of Jack, but all those guys have penalties. Right now, it's going to be a Skither and Luke 1-2. Invade put vulnerable on the straight. Now 3 wide into turn 1. Goatly trying to get him. Now Goatly having a slot in behind Night Owl. Contact! Night Owl and Goatly. Right now, this will be the last point spot when Egg's penalty gets applied. Loosey-goosey there from Night Owl. Zora's racing Gecko. These 2 collided last week. And right now, I must say, besides Zora's incident there at turn 3, a much cleaner race tonight. Look at a move up in front. Goatly and Night Owl. Zora, a big send on Gecko, and Gecko spun for the 3rd time today. His teammate now battles Night Owl. A trade in places now for 2nd place. Jack Miles almost put vulnerable to 2 different drivers. It's all happening behind race leader Skither. But if Skither gets a penalty, Luke Grange is now out of that 3-second window. We're going to reach the final lap this time. Skither out in front and looking for yet another victory. Jack, Reese, Luke, which one's it going to be? Reese A lot of weaving on that straight. Will Jack or Luke send it to the steward's office? It might not matter, though, because Jack is going to get him, and Luke's going to get him. Luke was already going to get him, but he's got him on track. Luke loses the rear. Now that puts Reese Dainty with an advantage to take him around the outside, but he will not have a go. Jack already has him, by the way, through the penalties, and Night Owl up a place on Invade. Reese ahead of Luke. Remember, Reese has that penalty, so Luke will get him when the penalties are applied. And Invade now trying to fight for the last point spot on track. They'll both get it when the penalties do get added, like I said. But great action here throughout the whole entire field. A lot different compared to season 19 here 2 seasons ago. At least this time, we have quite the battle for a podium instead of everyone just staying in line. But one more sector to go for Skither. Well, it must be said, every time he races, he finds a way to be up here. And he's going to be up here on the top step of the podium for the 40th time in F2. If you want to add all tiers together, make it number 70 for him. In car number 7, Skither gets to the finish line first to win the sprint. Jack Miles claims second, but that'll be second for Luke on the penalties. Jack, the last spot on the podium. We have more fighting to the line. Reese got 4th. Raza got 5th. Maestro got 6th. And because of the penalties, Night Owl and Invade get the last 2 point spots. Goatley just missed out by a 1/10 of a second. Egg was 10th. Good run for Zora and 11th from the qualifying band. Minako had pull. He had trouble today all over the place in the sprint. Titan. Gecko. Oh, okay. And Leon, the last runners to cross the line. Well, Gecko didn't cross the line, but Leon does. Skither wins once again, and I must say, he extends the championship lead with it. And driver of the day from the game, I would probably have to agree. Some drivers apologizing in chat for some incidents that occurred during the event, but you know who's happy regardless of the result? Zora. He had a great battle with Gecko, and I've got to give him a lot of credit. I really do. May not be the result. He doesn't always have the pace, but he was in contention and also kept it clean. Skither raising the trophy and spraying the champagne for a 70th time across all tiers, but a 40th in F2. Here we go. Here are your results. Jack, Reese, Egg, Minako, Titan, they all had penalties. I think my 2 runner-up spots for driver of the day, though, I have to give it to Raza and Goatley. Great drives there. Luke Grange gets his best finish since returning. Jack Miles on the podium again to kind of salvage some of the points there lost in the championship run. Gecko and George had penalties, but both of those drivers did not finish the event. Gecko was classified, though. Titan and Leon, 2 historic drivers, are last 2 runners. And now time for the feature race. Let us know, folks, what you think will happen. Cloudy, overcast conditions, but is it going to rain? The answer, no. And because of that win from Skither, it now means he has won back-to-back races again. All of his podiums since returning, I think at the start of season 20, all have been race wins. You want to knock him off the podium, that's fine, but you want to put him back on there, he'll be on the top step. He always just finds a way. And maybe with where he's starting this event, behind Minako, behind Egg, maybe he doesn't win this one. We do have pit stops to come. 25 seconds until lights out, folks. Give us your predictions and what you think will happen. It is time to kick off the feature race here in Catalonia. Here come the 5 red lights for the drivers. It's time to get going for round 2 in race 2. We go! Go, go, go! And already a change in spots there. Skither getting second on Egg. You can see a trade in places there as those drivers start to figure it out. Luke gets teammate Egg, and further behind, they're all squabbling around. A little bit of contact there. I think a Prema ran into the back of somebody, but that's Leon Miner looping it around there down at turn 2. Trouble for him. Some drivers go out very wide here at turn number 3. Jack, Night Owl, they're losing places. Jack even gained places on the start. Up 3 for Goatley, up 2 for Luke. Very crucial there. Raza gets Reese. Titan gets Night Owl. Further in front, we're looking at the 2 teammates here for 3rd place. Luke on Egg. Miniko and Skither have pulled away, though. They have pulled a massive gap, and it might be settled between them two, just like last season, or excuse me, last time we were here, but without the lap 1 trouble. Speaking of lap 1 trouble, more of that for Night Owl. He's ghosted now inside of Zora. Night Owl is down 10 places. He's had an absolute nightmare of a start. Now, for 3rd place, Luke and Egg back at it. Gecko and Midfield Maestro at it. Gecko up 2, Jack up 2, Goatley up 4. And now, Midfield Maestro and Gecko are wheel to wheel. Invade, waiting in the wings to try and make the move maybe on both. Side by side here to the penultimate corner. Usually never ends well, but Midfield Maestro gets shoved out wide. He'll have to back off there, while Miniko leads lap 1 ahead of Skither, and then Egg, 2.5 seconds adrift. Is that George lagging out, needing an invite? We'll check on that in a moment. Meanwhile, racing again for 3rd, Egg and Luke staying put, but that was Invade and Jack, I believe. Maybe Jack in midfield. Maestro trading places. I'm going to quickly put you guys on the tires here momentarily. We do have a variety of strategies to no surprise. Both the front 2 on softs, everyone behind practically, except for 6 drivers on hards. Invade and Gecko swapping the places for 5th place, excuse me. Is it George who lagged out? I'm going to check quickly while we have Goatley and Titan racing it out. Yes, George is going to need an invite. While that's happening, Raza and Midfield Maestro are wheel to wheel. Now, Midfield Maestro behind, and now look at this. Invade trying to gain some places on the soft compound tire. The faster tire to start the feature race. He's ahead of Luke, splitting him and his teammate. Goatley on Titan. A big midfield battle here. Right where Midfield Maestro is, how ironic. Goatley ahead of Titan. Night Owl ahead of Zora. And Zora goes off. Contact made. He is now in the gravel. Our 2 leaders now duking it out. Here is Skither trying to go the long way around and can't pull it off. Gecko continues to race behind Luke and stay behind. Further back, Goatley is right there with Midfield Maestro, and off goes Titan. Titan was trying to avoid running in the back of the car in front, almost missing his braking point, and went out wide to avoid doing so. Now, he's racing Night Owl in the MP. While this is happening, let me just invite George back. His car's ghosted. I'm not sure if he's been able to take control or not, but in case he needs an invite, there you go. Gecko right in the back of Luke, a 10th behind, still having a chance to continue and really fight for a podium, which could have been there in the sprint, but he had so many mistakes, so many coming together, and it didn't happen. Invade, though, is racing Egg. Is Egg letting him go because Invade is on the faster soft tires? He is. Egg pulls over and says, I'll let you have that. We'll follow you through. Goatley and Midfield Maestro trade places for 10th. That is now the last point spot. And here's RPL Titan Iron going out very wide, giving up a place to Night Owl. Oh, Night Owl cut him off. Maybe he wasn't clear of the ART there. Nonetheless, for the lead, Skither racing Miniko down the straight and gets it. Drag race to turn 1 now between Invade and Egg. Luke also up a place now from this. Gecko wants to have his say on this. Down the inside, he hits Luke and goes off. Gecko, another coming together with another driver while trying to make the move. Desperate move, maybe? You gotta question it. Now, because of Minako getting passed for the lead, he has now lost DRS to Skither. Skither has just ran off into the distance once again. And look at this, Raza Gamer down the inside of Gecko. Gecko had to back off there and go out wide, taking evasive action. A lot of contact down there. Everyone just getting their elbows out tonight, it's safe to say. But I'll tell you right now, Egg and Luke will have the advantage in the second half of the feature race with the better tires. Right now, with Minako and Skither, they've got to pull this gap, and they currently are doing a great job of that. So I've just received word Minako and Reese dealing with a sickness and feeling under the weather during this event. So I'm glad to see both of those drivers making the most of a bad situation. Nonetheless, look who's having a phenomenal race so far. Skither out in front by 1.3 seconds. Egg is trailing by 4.8 seconds from the dams of Minako. And Luke is on the move. Luke is up to the podium place. Further back, Gecko is racing Jack. Both these drivers in the past have had coming-togethers due to ambitious wheel-to-wheel racing. Right now, they're keeping it clean, and fair play from them, too. They don't seem to have the pace right now compared to guys like Egg, Luke, Minako, and Skither. But you gotta find a way to make the most of it, and I have to say, big points on offer in the feature, and right now, they are trying to do that, at least. Everyone's staying put in this train, and reasonably so as it goes back to 13th place. Titan has a chance. Goatley has a chance. Drivers who do not usually have the pace, having a chance still. And you don't want to make any maneuvers in this train, make any opportunistic moves. And I'll tell you why. Everyone needs to have everything cycle out here in the pit stops, and then you make the moves, because you don't want to disrupt things and then lose time. Right now, elbows out for 11th, though. They can make the move because they're the farthest back in this train. They won't lose time doing so, and that allows Night Owl through. Goatley wants to have a send back up the inside, and he cannot. Meanwhile, the Luke is off in the penultimate corner, and into the wall he goes. He tries to re-enter, and into the path of Goatley. Outside the points now for Luke, the prior F2 champion. We're going to race down the straight as we go to turn 1. Invade and Egg are on the move. They're up in front of that. I'm going to look here at Titan, Goatley, and Luke, because that place is not contested. Titan ahead of Luke. So Luke had an off there. I'm not sure if there was contact or maybe had the game glitch, I have to think, maybe. There at the penultimate corner where the game just sends you off. Could have happened. Could have been a possibility. Look at this. Invade was racing Jack, and Gecko wanted to go for it, and Gecko's in the wall again. And Gecko is still having trouble getting back going. Man, it is just not Gecko's day. This is awful for him. Luke takes 2. That was 1 due to an off, and he had Titan momentarily, but that may have been under yellow flag, so Luke let him back through. Now, Jack racing Invade here. Egg is pulled away here for the podium place. And Raza Gamer is on the back of Invade, just giving him a few taps into the next corner. Further back, we have racing between Night Owl and Maestro. Maestro and Goatley now, excuse me. Maestro collides with the Trident, and he has looped it around. Minako is in, thankfully needing to get off those tires, and Goatley passes Reese Dainty. Down the straight, we're going to have a drag race to turn 1. Invade is racing Raza Gamer. Invade is trying to go on the inside of Jack, but realizes that's not his fight. It's the fight to hold on for 4th right now, which will be maybe 1 or 2 places back once everything cycles out. Minako will be behind Zora here as he exits the pit lane. Raza Gamer on the inside, now the outside of Invade. Is he going to try a switcheroo? You bet he is. Down the inside. Side by side here. Invade doesn't want to back out. Up the inside, pinching the MP car. Not letting up there, the Prema, but maybe letting him go here. He might have to. You don't want to be side by side here. Invade goes for the huge dive and pulls it off. Look who's also on the charge. The teammate, Night Owl, through on Raza. Raza now down almost 3 places. He's been extremely vulnerable there. He'll hold on to 6th over Goatley, but it almost seemed like it was impossible to do so right there. Luke Range, Henri Stainty, 2 former teammates, 2 former champions, 2 former winners. Titan also got in the penalty club, along with Maestro earlier on. Skither, the leader, is in. And I think he timed this perfect because he got off those tires at a time to where he couldn't be undercut too bigly, too massively from Minako, and Invade runs into the wall there while trying to enter the pit lane. Invade speeds. Yeah, that entry was not clean at all. Luckily for Skither, he'll be out and maybe on better hard tires, fresher hard tires by a lap. So maybe that's his advantage that he wanted over Minako. Obviously, you want to try and go the full distance. Not the full distance, but as long as you can here. And I think some moves happening here on the straight. We mentioned Invade in. We mentioned Skither in. Titan's in as well. Excuse me. I'm trying to eat for the first time today while commentating. It's not going well. I really wonder how much of a distraction Zora is going to be to Skither and Minako here, who've exited the pit lane and are in DRS of Zora. Zora's off! And Zora, will he let Skither go? No. He's going to fight Skither with all of his life here. And Zora, you know, you got to realize here, this is not your fight. You want to kind of get some of the respect of your rivals. You got to let Skither go here, in my opinion. I know it's not his fight, but if he stops making mistakes and then slots in behind Skither and Minako, maybe he learns a thing or two. I think that'd be very helpful. But now, look at what this does. It puts up the fight with Skither and Minako battling for the net lead. All trying to overtake Zora here, 3 abreast into the corner. Zora goes out very wide. Skither now has Minako for company. Goatly is in. That's on the softs. No surprise there. But Night Owl is on the charge, and he is up a place on Jack. But did he go too deep? No, he didn't. You can see Jack trying to retake the place. Midfield Maestro trying to leapfrog himself up to 7th. Goatly in, but Minako and Skither. Elbows out here on the straight into turn 1. Zora made an absolute mess of that first corner. He's yet to pit. But I don't really understand what the point of battling there was. Like I said, it's not against the rules, but you're just going to cause trouble doing so. And look at, speaking of trouble, Invade has went around almost and re-enters right in the path of Titan. That was extremely dangerous, but he had it coming together with Goatly, and Reese Dainty now has a penalty alongside his name. Again, he cannot keep it clean. He had the sprint race with this happen, and now he's had the feature race with this happen. Reese Dainty, usually a driver, I would say, keeping it penalty free, but that's not the case right now. Will anybody head off to the pits? I don't think we have anybody heading to the pits. And we have a collision! Leon Miner was racing with Skither and Minako has gone around now. So Minako, who could have taken the net lead over Skither, now having trouble. Jack up a place. Luke gaining places. Both happening on the MP cars. And I really wonder what happened there with Leon. Look at Leon now pinching Skither onto the grass. Skither says, that's fine. I'll just overtake in the grass here down the main street. But it's affected Minako very much so. And Skither weaving, not happy with Leon. Skither displaying his frustration, it's safe to say. And I think Minako will be probably doing the same too here with Leon. I'm going to go to Minako's stream and find out what in the world happened there with Leon. Leon racing Minako, wheel to wheel. Minako is a little bit of an error, trying to go around the outside, now the inside of Leon, and he does get the place. I really wonder what happened there with Minako and Leon. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. I'm going to check right now. Gecko racing midfield Maestro. Look at this, a little switchback, a little dummy move, you could say, around the outside, now to the inside. Raza Gamer blinks off the pit lane. So what happened here? Okay, so Leon was racing Skither. Skither went to the inside, pulling up and under. And it was Skither and Leon who collided, and Minako had nowhere to go. Oh, man. You gotta wonder, will that be sent to the steward's office? Was that ambitious from Skither at all. I mean, he was trying to find a way past Leon. Leon, probably the Ryan Newman of RPL, it's safe to say. Raza Gamer, Leon, both pit. Raza on softs, and Luke up a place on Jack. And I just had to listen to Minako's radio when that had happened, when he collided with Skither. He said, Skither, you were a moron. Not very happy about what happened there. And I'll tell you right now, no doubt about it, I'm pretty sure that will get sent to the steward's room. We know who Minako's blaming for that. It was down this back straight right now where Maestro's coming through, where his teammate, Skither, tried to go an up and under move, a little fake he tried pulling on Leon. And Leon was already defensive on the dams. It resulted in a collision. Minako nowhere to go. We'll send the clip in for you folks to view it. But that is absolute disaster for Minako, who could have taken a victory tonight. It may not happen any longer. Gecko is off to the pits. Egg joins him as well. Gecko locking up the brakes to make sure he gets it in under 37 miles per hour, which is the pit lane speed limit. Jack hounding the back of Night Owl for second place in this race. Luke Range yet to pit. He's staying out. You gotta wonder if he's waiting for maybe a safety car. 1.8 seconds the gap between Minako and Skither. Egg comes out on the soft tires behind Minako and ahead of Raza Gamer. Titan is racing Invade for 11th. Titan's had a quiet event, especially compared to his event 4 seasons ago at the circuit, which was filled with a big surprise, a podium place. I can't say the same today, but I will say Titan is maybe keeping himself out of harm's way being back there. Hopefully a better race next week, which is in Miami. Home race for some. Skither, Goatley. Goatley finished 4th there last time, and Titan. And off to the pits, Luke and Night Owl dip too. Night Owl saying, when you dip, we dip together. And that's what's happened. Reese Dainty heads to the pits, and look who's off. Zora into trouble at turn 4. Raza Gamer in DRS pursuit of Egg. Midfield Maestro also off to the pit lane as well. Remember, they started on the hard compound tires. They're going to the softs. You know who's yet to pit, though? Jack Miles. He's the only one. Fastest lap for Raza Gamer, who's going quite quick right now behind Egg. I've lagged out of the party. Hi, game chats. Happened. Raza Gamer getting the upper edge on Luke, or excuse me, Egg. Speaking of Luke, he's out of the pit lane now. My apologies. Reese Dainty out of the pit lane in the path of Titan and Invade, who trade places for the last point spot. Time to head back to the party. Sorry, folks, if you can hear me. That's not my fault that Xbox lags us out when we're commentating alone. As some would say, they'd say that's a skill issue. Just get a COCOM. I would agree. I want to just speak of the next races momentarily as things do die down. We have, of course, F1 tonight in Jeddah. I'll be on comms with Titan for that. But for F2's case, we have Miami, Monza, Hungary, Baku, Jeddah, Vegas. We're not keeping ourselves away from the street circuits whatsoever. Jack heads off to the pit lane for the first time this race, and he held out the longest compared to the other drivers on hards. And Invade up a place on Titan. Reese is battling Goatley. Night Owl has Luke for company, and Egg trying to get the podium place on Raza Gamer. And honestly, with how fast Raza and Egg are right now, if they trade places and both help each other and not fight it out to try and catch Skither and Minako, this could potentially be a victory for one of them. Speaking of fastest laps and going quite quick, it's Gecko setting the sights there, getting the fastest lap. Night Owl snags 5th place away from Luke. Invade looks to do the same on Titan. If they're not careful, Gecko is going to get the last point spot from them without the penalty. I've been pinged. I'm wondering what for. Oh, it was for conversation in main chat. Speaking of a conversation, I'm sure Leon and Zora will have that with one another on, well, who ends up not in disaster here, because these two have quite the history with some interesting racecraft in the past in RPL. But right now, they're having quite a cracking battle for last place. And you know what? Why not fight it out with these two, right? I mean, these two, out of everyone's way. As long as they don't cause a safety car, I think we'll have a lot of fun watching this. And a lot of contact for 10th place. Gecko, Titan, Invade now dropping down places. Speaking of places, Luke and Night Owl trade for 5th place. Luke and Night Owl both on the softs, the revert strategy. And speaking of the opposite strategy, Gecko is taking big advantage of that, up to 10th. Invade now really not going to take advantage of Titan down the main straight, because Titan has DRS off Gecko, and here's Titan on the move on the inside, going for a huge lunge. Can Titan pull it off? He almost shoves Gecko off. Invade tried to take the outside line to try and take them both on, and it won't happen. Leon gets a penalty. That does not matter right now for the battle for 10th, but Gecko holds on. That's 15th place Leon who got the penalty. Minico dropping back time from Skither. 2 seconds drift. Egg now only 2 seconds back from Minico. Zora moving up places. He's up to 15th. He is not last anymore and won't be even when the penalties are applied. And that's a coming together between Titan and Invade. Midfield Maestro says, thank you very much. I will take advantage right there. But Invade and Titan coming to blows there for 12th. Speaking of coming to blows, I think we're about to see that with Zora and Leon. Zora 15th, Leon 16th now. Zora giving Leon the squeeze there down the straight, and Leon back up the inside. Oh! Night Owl makes it a double MP top 5 now as this goes to 4 to go. Raza's trying to get it on the move on Egg, but they've got to be careful here not to wear out their tires, and also maybe to get to Minico. Minico is a possibility to overtake there. Skither, maybe not. He just always seems to have the pace no matter what kind of situation you put him in. Speaking of pace, Invade and Titan, who do not have a lot of pace, having to battle for 12th place right now. Let's see. Let me go to Invade's stream and check out what happened there with his coming together with Titan. I'll get you guys situated on what happened there in a moment, while Leon and Zora switch places for 15th, and Zora maybe just giving a little hello there as he weaves down the straight. Oh, he's off, and he'll get a 3-second time penalty for good measure. He'll have to give up a bit of time to Leon, and he does a little bit. Well, he made an absolute mess of that corner. So what happened here with Invade and Titan? Titan ran out a bit wide. Invade tried to go up the inside and crashed into Titan. And Invade, I think he did the right thing there. Let Titan Ironwolf go. That's why you saw him stranded on the side of the road, struggling to get back going. He let Titan go after they're coming together. Very respectful thing, Invade, but you know what? That still might get penalized because you both lost a lot of time. Luke gets Night Owl, and it seems to be an inter-team battle between MP and Luke and Egg for their teams that they are for. Speaking of teams, here's a teammate swap for 9th. Gecko up into 9th. And a little bit of touching of the wheels between Zora and Leon. That's for 15th and 16th. And Leon doesn't have a teammate in here, but Zora does. His teammate gets overtaken for 12th. All great stuff here outside the points. Zora kicks up some kitty litter. Leon does so down the main straight, going into the grass. And Zora pulls a fake and goes through. A neat little move from the young Canadian. And Egg, a penalty. That's for 3rd. That's going to promote Raza Gamer to the podium when it's all said and done. I mean, he's just got to keep himself out of the penalty club now as well. I'm very interested to see, will Minico be looking to get Skither penalized to try and get the victory in the steward's office? Speaking of penalized, Luke has been penalized by the stewards for multiple warnings on the track limits. I think Zora and Leon may have had it coming together there. Zora losing time, Leon having a wiggle, and Vade and Titan, who came together earlier on, battling still for 12th. I mean, everywhere you look, it's F124 for you. Battles galore. Speaking of battles galore, let's give you some lore. Luke Grange has won a total of 45 races in F2. But you know what? He could be looking at potentially a double podium if it weren't for that penalty. Raza Gamer back up the inside, trying to fight this and retake the place. They're going to be wheel to wheel into the next set of corners. Raza Gamer back through. Egg! What's happened to him? He's letting these guys go. Does he have an issue? He's got a left front puncture! Oh no! So now the concern maybe is for Raza, who pitted the earliest of these lot. Behind, Luke Grange and Night Owl having a go amongst each other. Night Owl cuts off Luke. Jack gets Egg, and Egg just tipping down the order with that puncture. We start the final lap of this race. Does anybody else encounter a puncture as well? The most likely candidate for that would be Raza Gamer on now 8 lap softs. Raza Gamer is getting eaten alive. Here comes Luke Grange and his teammate, Night Owl. Luke Grange going up the inside. And L74G takes it. Reese Dainty also takes on Egg. Egg gonna have to tiptoe his way on the final lap to try and hold a point spot. It may still be possible, but he is just gonna have a nightmare here trying to get around the circuit and keeping 10th, what could be 10th place. Right now it's 8th. And he could be losing out even more. More yellow flags. That's for Egg. I think he has looped it, and he may be losing out on 10th now. The battle for 3rd still continues on, but provisionally, assuming it does not get sent into the storage room, his collision with Miniko and Leon, he will be taking victory for a 41st time in F2. He has swept the weekend in the feature and the sprint, and he'll make it 3 wins in a row. Skither claims victory on top tonight in Spain. He'll win the feature. Miniko is 2nd. Luke gets 3rd on track, only just to be passed by Night Owl. And I think Raza Gamer got a puncture there at the end. He did. The left front tire killed itself. Jack is 4th. Raza's 5th. Luke Grange 6th. Gecko 7th. To be passed by Reese there for the position. Goatley 9th, and Egg just hangs on with the puncture for 10th. Titan gets invaded due to the 10-second unserved penalty due to speeding. George will claim 14th, and now a final spot on our field we're fighting for with Leon and Zora. Assuming these two finish the event, we're going to have every single driver finish. A fight to the line is still not done. Leon and Zora, drag race to the line. Leon will get him. What a battle these two had. It may have been for last place, but they kept it very clean. Some drivers who've not been clean in the past before, proving that they can be clean tonight. Very well done there. Driver of the day from the game is Raza Gamer. He ended off with a puncture, and so did Egg. I've got to wonder, will Miniko send that incident in, and will it lose Skither the victory? In the meantime, we'll have Skither start spraying the champagne on the top step of the podium and celebrating a 71st victory across all tiers. His 3rd already on the season, and extending the championship lead with it. What a clinic he put on. And Skither saying Leon moved under braking into him. Raza had 95 with no puncture, but I thought he did there on the left front. Maybe he had the puncture while crossing the line. I think he did cross the line, maybe without a puncture, but got it at the line. I'm gonna need results here. I can't get results since we're you know, staying on the podium celebration for way too long. I'll need it from someone's stream. Oh no. Somebody, please. Well, nonetheless, Skither comes out victorious. Yeah, Raza must have got a puncture right as he crossed the line because he said the last corner was 99 there. Wow. And Zora saying him and Leon had a good battle. Although it was not for points, you guys definitely did have a great battle. And Minako is saying he's trying to contemplate even if he's even able to get Skither a penalty for it. I would agree just because Leon may have moved under the brakes there. Nonetheless, folks, we have more events to come, and I have to say, Driver of the Day from the feature, I'm not sure who gained places and whatnot. Raza Gamer would probably be one of my close run-ups. Night Owl also had a good run through the field, but the guy swept the weekend. Skither, once again. 71st victory across all tiers, 3rd on the season, extends the championship lead, and is 41st in F2. Dams get their 84th. He's now won 3 in a row. It's hard not to give it to him. But a job well done there from a lot of the drivers. A sprint race had 2 retirements. Only 1 DNF. 1 was classified. It was Gekko who retired on the last lap of the race. And a safety car and VSC free event in both. And in the feature race, we also had no driver retire from the event. Very well done there. And hopefully we can have the same thing happen in Jeddah. Maybe history repeating itself. I mean, it's very unlikely. It's Jeddah. It's a street circuit. It's going to be utter chaos. So we'll find out later tonight what happens in F1 around Jeddah. Another street circuit. Watch then there at RPL Formula 1 in 2 hours' time. Nonetheless, our next F2 event will be in Miami for next week at the Hard Rock Stadium. This should be tons of fun to see what happens there. Can Skither maintain his championship lead with it? We hope to see you either next week at Miami. I won't be there. Or F1 later tonight in Jeddah to end off the weekend, folks. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, and I'm saying goodnight. We'll see you next time. Good night and goodbye. We'll see you then.